Again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of My Faith with Homer and Pip. Homer?
I'm back to my Mother Teresa obsession because it's short and sweet, and I feel like I have to say it every now and then. They always asked her, "What was your secret? How did you do what you did?" She said, "My secret is a very simple one. I pray." And they always wanted more. She said, "No, there is no more. That's it." It's a short speech, but it's as good as it gets.
Absolutely. And of course, she lived her faith, the goodness of God in her heart. And our guest on My Faith with Homer and Pip is someone who does the same thing. Her name is Patt Krejci, and she's a friend. And we are so blessed to have you, Pat. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Again, My Faith with Homer and Pip. Homer and the Holy Spirit had this endeavor that they wanted to share with you. We hope and pray it helps you to and through your journey to the cross. And also, we very much thank our producer, Brett Young. Can't do without him. So, without further ado, as always, Homer takes the first swing. Go get her, buddy.
Pat, it's always the same. I now refer to this, and Pip does, as your spiritual resume. People will know your thoughts for the rest of your life. And so the fascination to me doesn't change. How do you wish to start? My faith, your story. Take it away.
Oh, I was afraid you were going to do that to me. I watched a few of these. Um, I guess, I'm a pretty simple person. I don't have any huge stories. They're very huge to me, though. And my story definitely starts with my family and my upbringing. I am one of originally 10 children. Uh, a set of twins that had passed away early. So there are eight of us for the most part, and um, a mother and father who were amazing, incredible parents. Um, if I say too much, I'll start bawling. So you don't want that from emotional me. But
Yes, we do.
Yes,
We'd
we
be
do.
happy
oh
with
no,
that.
you have no idea.
Your
Just
heart. Your
stop
heart.
it once it
All
starts.
right, you're in charge.
But no, they both lived it to be into their 90s, and they were just the most loving parents, strict. Father was a West Pointer. Mom ran a very tight ship. Um, 10 of us in a little tiny ranch house, 4 kids in each bedroom, a closet this big. um, and it run with such love. And so to this day, all the children there, the 8 of us are still alive and well, we think. um, and we're so close. I mean, I have 3 sisters that I speak to probably every day, given one or the other. And they're huge faith-based people, and that's what keeps me going. Those are the people that, it's like singing with the choir, I guess, because that's who they are. And my mother and father growing up, I can remember being in my top bunk, and their bedroom was right next door to mine. And they said a rosary every day of their life, every single day. And they would lay in there and say their rosary at night, and I would listen to that. And it was always for the family.
Mhm.
Thanks, Mom and Dad. Yeah,
Mhm.
amazing. Um, our family has stayed so strong together. I don't know what I'd do without them. And in this day and age, when there are so many that seem to fall apart or not speak with each other, that's so sad.
Mhm.
And so that's where I came from, and that's where I still am with my family. And I could not thank God enough for that. Can't.
And what of their faith and what they showed you or taught you stands or sits at the top of the list?
Um, well, when you are raised in that large of a family, you have to learn to love someone else more than yourself. You have to give and care about each other. Mother and dad also cared immensely for their neighbors. Many of them were older people who needed help, whether it was shoveling or yard work or this or that. We learned how to respect older people. We were always praying for somebody. I mean, dinner got cold, we were always praying for somebody. And mom would, she never even had a driver's license, but she would stay home and be the most wonderful mother in the world. And she'd bake cakes for the nuns. And I remember carrying the whole nativity scene over in a sheet cake 2 miles away from the house. I had to carry it to you know, the convent at the time. So, yeah, um, we just were brought up in that kind of an environment, constant environment about caring and taking care of each other. And I was the second oldest and the oldest girl, so I did have to learn a lot of mothering, I think, early, and it was good. It was a good thing.
All right, you know my next question. At some point, it's you. You're not with your parents, you're not with your family. At some point, on your own, you had to decide, I believe this or what I believe, and it becomes your faith and your actions. When was that?
Oh, faith is such a journey. It is such a journey, at least for me. Because, if you're going to be honest, if I'm going to be honest, I went from, the things I reflect on now aren't exactly the way you walked through life, but you reflect on life now and you realize so much more. But, when you're from that many children in a family, the urge to get away from 7 brothers and sisters who are checking out your date, that you're hiding in the closet just to have some privacy, you tend to move on quickly, and mother, I think, posted everybody everywhere to make sure that we were all doing what we're supposed to do in the basement with our date. I mean, that was kind of it. And so I got to the age when I graduated, I couldn't wait to get out of the house, and so I went to school in Madison, in a beautician school, which didn't last long for me at all. But I had a great wild time in Madison with roommates, and it was great. And we lived out on the West Belt Line, and you had to take the bus to go to mass on Sunday, and So, as I think many do at that age, you kind of fall away. But I never fell away from prayer or from God ever. But going to mass occasionally, I would go here and there, but not religiously. And then life went on, and I got married, and um, my faith was always strong for me to get to mass, to bring my children up Catholic. My
But
husband.
wait, why the prayer? You just said prayer. I mean, you sound like Mother Teresa. What was it about prayer that you never lost?
What else is there? Where else do you turn? That's all I saw in my mother and dad. Everything. If there wasn't enough for groceries, mother would just say, "Come on, everybody," as we're eating our stewed prunes on noodles. What? That was Fridays. It was just like, we have to, let's ask God. Dad's got a review coming up. Sure enough, Dad come home and he got a big raise. It was like magic when we were kids. So that's all I ever knew. And when you look at yourself and all your failures and things that you've tried, and I've been through some doozies. I wake up today and the things that hurt me so desperately in life, I wake up today and say, you know what, Lord, that was hell to go through, or close. But Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I can't thank you enough. Um, because now I can look back and realize that my faith and I would not be where I am now had I not gone through those things. As hurtful and as awful as they were at the time, I'm so grateful. So grateful. Yeah.
All right, Tommy, I know you got something.
Patt Krejci is our guest on My Faith with Homer and Pip. I'm Tommy Pippins. Brett Young is our producer, and Homer and the Holy Spirit put this together. My Faith with Homer and Pip. And we're so grateful to Pat for joining us. Pat, you talk about difficult times, challenging times, suffering. I heard someone say once, we're all going to suffer, so we can suffer well or we can suffer poorly. Do you care to share anything in your heart that some of those times when you did suffer, and my sense is you suffered well with the Lord?
Um, to some degrees. I mean, I don't like to pull other people into my story, even though they were a part of it. That's their story to tell, not mine, on their behalf. But I will say that uh, my husband, who was a wonderful human being, had cancer for 30 some odd years on and off. And that wasn't easy. That was difficult. But you know, it's a tough thing when you. He was not Catholic, um, and I always thought, well, so what? You know, I can do this on my own. Very difficult thing to do on your own. Once you're married, you have children, and although he was wonderful, he allowed me. You know, he sent the kids to Catholic school, everything. I mean, he never said boo until it was time for the kids to sail on Sunday mornings. And they had to be on the racetrack. That got a little sticky. But it's difficult to do alone, I think, and your children realize one goes and one doesn't, you know, and I think that's hard. Thank God my children are both so far very strong in their faith, and so are their families. So my son has 10 children.
Wow.
So yeah,
The
so they're
family.
all
Yeah.
yeah. So they're doing well, but you know, as any marriages, there are struggles, and you get through them. Not always ideally. You know, it's a funny thing because you pray about whatever, anything, and I remember many years of praying through the struggles of the cancer and really the way, you know, he was supposed to live his life to take care of it and didn't quite see. You know, he was all about let's have fun today. Don't worry about it. Whatever tomorrow will bring. So he was a great guy. But you pray for certain things in life, and then you or I tended to. Oh, I'm so sorry. I tended to say, oh, wait a minute, Lord, I'll be right back. I just got a great idea. Don't go anywhere. Just gonna check this one out. I think I got it. I think I got it. I think that must be your voice I'm hearing. Oh, I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
And then I go off and you know, go, oh Lord, I just know you're behind this. Feels so good, you know. And he's like, I don't think so. But he would stand there with me and he would wait patiently, you know, and I can't help but think of I have a pencil at home. It's a number 2 yellow pencil, the kind we had in school. And I can remember sitting there in class, all the Catholic schools I went to, and I'd go up and I'd sharpen that pencil, and you had to get in line to sharpen your pencil. And you had that perfect point, and it was going to be beautiful to write with. And I'd sit down at the desk, And I can remember taking that pencil while the teacher was talking. I would take it, that brand new, beautiful pencil, and I'd bite into that wood. I can feel my teeth sinking into the wood of that pencil. Every once in a while, the eraser would pop off too, but pretty much, and without thinking, I'd be doing that. It just felt so like stress relieving to do that. But then later on, you look at this pencil and you go, oh my God, what did you do? Your ugly pencil, and you got to use it, and we can't just keep replacing those. So I think about, I have that pencil, I have it hanging above a crucifix at home. And it reminds me that I look at it as my life and I say, here I am, this number 2 pencil, all chewed up, all the sin of your past, all the ugly things, but this strong lead that runs through it, and the hand of God can write with it yet. He can use me to write with. And that's my prayer and my hope, that he will, and that he will show me. It's all about his divine will, whatever his divine will is. If that's all you pray for is just to do God's divine will, you've prayed for everything, as far as I'm concerned. That's everything. So that's my little reminder on life. And there were many of those bite marks through my life. But that lead stayed strong, and the hand came down and wrote with me and kept me going. And that's how I look at it.
I trust that your faith, that's a beautiful story, Pat. Thank you. Really kept you going when your husband passed away. How difficult was that? The suffering that goes with it, and
it was very hard. I think when you have a spouse or anyone in your family who has a cancer diagnosis, I think you, from day one, I mean, we were married 5 years when the first episode came in. I think that very day one, my husband had head and neck cancer, and he was not supposed to drink after that because it would aggravate it. He quit smoking. But he didn't quite follow the rules. And so I was very concerned that this was, right away you think, oh my gosh, he's having a drink, he's going to die next week. I mean, that's just kind of how you start to live your life. So that was an ongoing concern. He'd, quit for a while, and then he'd have a drink or two, and 2 could be 3. And it just was not what he should have been doing. Now, might have died from it anyhow, maybe. I don't know. But that's hard. It's hard to live with because you feel like you're watching your husband kill himself. And I loved him dearly. So that was tough. But so to answer your question, I guess I kind of lived it in my mind over and over with every operation as they kept taking part of him away and he couldn't talk. And then I had to tube feed him, with each step. It was hard. And yet in the end, I believe it was one of the greatest gifts that I got in life, was to take care of him as he was dying. It truly was. When you take care of somebody that you love and you love each other, and there's forgiveness, and there's, I was, when he died, I was glad he was out of pain. I missed him terribly, but he was out of pain, and we had a very long goodbye, I think. And he loved me immensely. So, I don't know. You accept it, and you have to move on. I remember the day I came in from the funeral, and after everybody left the next day, my house was empty, and I walked in, and it was so quiet. And I turned on the TV that day for noise, and I never turned it off. 2 weeks ago, I turned my TV off. 2 weeks ago, I said, Lord, I can no longer stand the noise out there, the political stuff, the killing, the whole thing, all that. I mean, yeah, I'm aware of what's going on in the world, and I think that's important, and I will always catch 10 minutes here and there. But it can't be my life anymore because I can't. I'd rather spend that time in prayer. I'd rather sit down, say the rosary, and not have all that noise in my head anymore. It's wearing on me.
So how
So,
long was that? How long was the TV on?
16 years.
Excuse me?
16 years.
The TV never went off.
Well, no. Meaning when I came home from work or whatever, I'd immediately walk in and turn on the TV just to have somebody in the house.
Got it.
But the characters that were coming into my house are getting on my nerves, to be honest. So I turned it off.
I now believe it's Pat and Mother Teresa who say my secret is a very simple one. I pray.
Yes.
What? And I wish I could have asked her, how do you handle when you pray and he doesn't answer your prayers?
Oh my gosh, that's so simple. I mean, I don't ever look at it like he's answering me. He is answering me. He just says, be still and know that I'm God. Get over it. You don't need an answer right now. It's coming when I'm ready. Period.
All right, Tommy, back to you.
That's great. I'm glad you interjected, buddy. And Pat, what a beautiful story. I say this in the greatest way possible, being blessed to know you at a certain level. You're independent, you're steadfast, you're gifted as can be. Look at the project at our Queen of Apostles Parish in Pewaukee, renovation, your gifts and decorating and the painting and all. When did you get to a stage where you not only surrendered yourself to God in the midst of everything, joys and sorrows, and said, I surrender to you, Jesus, and I trust in you?
Tom. Well, to be honest, after my husband died, I was 61 when he died. And I didn't really, after some time, I just didn't want to be alone. I loved being married. I loved giving to someone. I loved home life. He was creative too. We had a great life. But I didn't want to be alone. And I thought all the guys were like my husband, which wasn't the case. So to be honest, 3 years later, I remarried. And without going into anything, it was a horrendous mistake. Horrendous. Like sometimes this day I still go, what? How did this happen? So through that, we were, well, the story doesn't make sense unless I finish it. I guess I wasn't going to go into any of this, but we were married for 11 months. And he looked at me and said I wasn't making him happy and he wanted a divorce. It's like, what? Wait a minute, what? Well, there's so much more to the story, and I'm not going to go into any of it, but I learned a lot more than I ever realized about mental illnesses and all kinds of things. So in the dead of night, my dog and I packed up and moved out of the house. I had to go, I was living in Elm Grove at the time, and I just didn't know what to do. I was gone. This made no sense. The whole thing was bizarre to me. Thank God for a wonderful Catholic psychologist who helped out, made sense of it. But anyways, so I went to drove around. I was crying so hard I didn't even know where I was going. And I see this big old apartment complex and look kind of new. And I drive up this hill and I go into this place and I walked in and I said, I need to rent an apartment. You got to have a dog here and blah, blah, blah. So here I am, like house mother, all these college kids that go over to Freighter and whatever. So I move into this place and they were redoing it. It's been there forever. And they were tearing all the old buildings down and putting new ones up. But they had some old building right across from my window. And there was a big old bulldozer thing, and there were graffiti written on the walls of the brick. And I just stood there and I took a picture. I sent it to my sister. I said, "Oh my God, here's my life." And there were some swear words on there. And I'm like, "Yep, that's appropriate right now." And I said, "But see that bulldozer?" I said, "That's going to be me." I said, "You watch." I didn't know what I was talking about. It sounded good at the time. The weird part is there was something about that place, and I couldn't, it was just a vibe or a feeling, or I don't know what it was. I sat in that apartment. I actually didn't work, I don't think, that whole year, very little, year and a half. And I prayed, and I had the book by Henry Nouwen, The Inner Voice of Love. That book just totally got me through at the time. But I can remember there's something about that place, and I would go for a walk, and I'd be walking, and there was a hidden little cemetery up there, and I thought it was so sad, and there were little notes of people that were buried, not very many, but some people that never, well, it used to be a sanitarium many years ago. And so, I always thought, wow, that's just so weird. And then it became something for the college. I don't, it's been a couple of things now, but anyways, I found it. So one day I was talking to my dad, who was an amazing man, and we were talking, and I said, "Dad," I said, "you remember when my mother had a nervous breakdown when we were kids, we were little, and we all kind of went to cousins to live for a while." And I said, "She went to a sanitarium at the time." I said, "Where did she go? Where was that place?" And he said, it was in Elm Grove. And he said it was up on a hill. And it was right where I was, right there, which I never knew.
Wow.
And we just put it together. Not that she came out and she was fine and went on to have, dancing on the tabletops and all that, but she had lost a husband in the war. And so she kind of remarried. And then when Dad went off, I think it got a little scary for her. But anyways, yeah. So, it was interesting, just all these little things that happen that I feel God connects you to. I feel a huge connection to God with nature. I mean, I'm driving, and I can tell you every saint and I see everything and everything. My bathroom tiles, I've got the Blessed Virgin with, I've got Jesus' face in one of, that's just me. My sisters think I'm nuts, but that's just me. I just see creatively, that's what keeps me going is creativity. I just see so many things everywhere that life is so exciting. Anything, a tree, a leaf, you name it. Yeah, I love it. So anyhow, I don't know how I got off on that, but those are the times that I said, "I'm done, Lord. I'm done." Maybe I should have listened to you as far as should I have dated this person or not. I said, oh, he's perfect. He's perfect. I'll be right back, God. And God said, I don't think so. And I'm going, oh, wait a minute. That's what happens when people get old, right? You have to accept some of that stuff. No, no. I did it my way. But you know what? To this day, I'm thrilled because I don't know if I'd be where I am today had that not happened.
All right, you get 60 seconds to tell someone who has a faith at various levels, and you want them to know what's at the top of your list, the strongest thing to strengthen their faith, to understand the faith, or to have a great faith. What are you going to say in those 60 seconds? You only get 60, maybe only 30.
Mm. Um, I, I, I think that, you know, if you have a toothache, you go to the dentist. If you have, you know, if you're going to have surgery, you go to the dentist. People don't question that. Oh, my doctor, my dentist, my lawyer, my Indian chief, my everything. And I'm going, wait, this is who created every part of us, everything of us. And why aren't people going to him? I mean, that's the only thing that's going to be left in the end. You know, man can only do so much. Do you know how good it feels? Well, you guys do, but you just go, here, take care of everything, Lord. Say the surrender prayer enough times, and it feels so good. You just go, oh my gosh, here, take it, take it. I'll be back. Let me know how it works out. That's just the way it is. I don't think twice. And it gives you such inner peace. It gives you, you don't have to be happy with everything that's going on in the world, but the inner peace that you end up with through giving everything to God and accepting, you don't maybe like all the answers, but don't go off with your own, hey, Lord, I got a great plan. What do you think? And yeah, I think this is great. No, you got to listen a little harder and it works. It just works. I don't know what to tell you. It doesn't happen overnight, though. At least didn't for me. Maybe some people, but it's been a journey for me, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, Tommy, you go for it. You try to get something better than that.
Absolutely not. I would just ask this. Um, you're creative, you've got Jesus and the tile and the Blessed Mother. Is it fair to say that you have seen and see the holy face of Jesus with all you've been through and how your faith has grown? You talk about that peace that all of us should listen to and keep going no matter what. Have you seen the face of Jesus?
I, my inner gut of what I want to do from here on in, I've done so much commercial, not commercial, residential, homes forever, commercial, loved it all. The church has been my favorite, I have to be honest. Um, Do I see the face of Jesus? So many times. So many times. There was a man that stood in church the other day and he said, he just stopped. And he said, wow. He said, you know what a little paint can do. And then he looked over at the Blessed Virgin and his eyes watered up. And he said, especially that.
Mm,
That was the face of Jesus to
mm,
me,
mm,
this elderly man. Yeah, looking at his mother.
mm.
Yeah.
All right, Tommy, you did it. That was better.
No, I don't.
Unbelievable.
Are we done now, brother? Unless Pat wants to share anything, I don't want
Yes,
to.
you ask it, and I think it's the great question how Pat or anybody chooses to finish. Anything she didn't say, or what's there that will be the end.
I think I think it's a hard time. You get so filled, and you guys are doing it. I mean, filled and excited about what God is doing in your life and what He is doing to your heart, and how carefree people really could be if they wanted to be, if they really put themselves in His hands. Um, you want to bring that to everybody, but you can't go pounding on doors and jumping around too much either. So it's a fine line, and I don't know. I'm going to see what I can do. What There's got to be things I can do. I want to lean more out of the business end of it and into the charitable end of it, although the two have dovetailed many times for me, many. But it's kind of a journey. It's kind of my next journey. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. Stay tuned.
Stay
Yes.
tuned.
I think we're going to close it now, Pat, because that was you and the Holy Spirit knocked it right out of the ballpark. And
No.
Matt, thank you enough for sharing your faith journey. And I'm privileged to know that you're living it.
You
And
know, this morning I said, because when I start talking, I can talk too much. And I said, Lord, I don't know what, I've never done a podcast before, but I said, who's your saint of the tongue? Nothing was coming to mind. And then I went, oh my gosh, it's the Holy Spirit, of course.
yes, yes, yes.
Keep me quiet.
It's wonderful, wonderful. Cannot thank you enough.
Thank
And
you.
as Homer said, your spiritual resume, Pat, there for all time, loved ones to see, everybody to see, and anyone who sees this, in our humble opinion, I know my good buddy agrees, will be blessed. And that's the idea of my faith with Homer and Pip, everyone, that hopefully you get something that just brings you peace as you walk to and through the cross of Christ, the suffering and what have you, the joys and sorrows, but knowing what lies ahead because of his love. So
Yeah.
with great gratitude again, yes, Patt Krejci for Homer and the Holy Spirit put it together, our producer Brett Young. I'm Tommy Pippins. Thanks everybody for being with us on My Faith with Homer and Pip. It would be a joy to see you again next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank you.
much. Bye bye.